The cross shape is a constant in the modern landscape. It sits atop local churches, marks the entrances of hospitals, and identifies nearly every ambulance on the road. For millennia, this intersection of lines was known as the Tau. It is an ancient identifier that predates our current medical or religious associations, yet its original history has been largely scrubbed from public memory. The EOC coat of arms is designed to preserve this forgotten identity. In this crest, the red cross represents two distinct things, the Hebrew sign of Tau and a heavenly sign known as Nibiru. Within this system, these symbols are paired with a royal crown to signify a universal authority granted by God. Tracking the history of this specific mark reveals a timeline of extreme stakes. It is a record of divine commands for slaughter, multi-million-dollar corporate lawsuits, and modern anomalies that defy conventional scientific explanation. To understand the true identity of the Tau, we have to follow a trail of conflict spanning thousands of years, a battle over who has the ultimate right to own this symbol. Evidence of the Tau appears as early as 4000 BC. Stone carvings from this period depict ancient Sumerian gods alongside the cross symbol. Around 3000 BC, the Egyptians integrated the symbol into their own culture as the Ankh. By adding a rounded loop to the top of the Tau, they created a glyph that became the literal definition of life. A critical shift occurred in 570 BC, recorded in the Book of Ezekiel. Here, the Tau was transformed from a general concept of life into a literal mark of physical survival. The Book of Ezekiel describes a divine command to sweep through Jerusalem. The order was absolute: show no pity to young or old, except for those who received the mark of the Tau upon their foreheads. For them, the mark was the only protection against slaughter. This same geometry appeared in 30 AD as the apparatus for the crucifixion of Yeshua. By 95 AD, Revelation records Christ claiming the symbol as his identity, describing himself as the Aleph and Tau, the first and last letters of the ancient Hebrew alphabet. For these first 4 millennia, the Tau was never human property. It functioned strictly as a divine signature of authority and a prerequisite for salvation. Mankind began to co-opt the divine mark in 1119 AD. Secular and religious organizations, from the Knights Templar to various hospital groups, started adopting the red cross to represent their own earthly authority. This transition reached a turning point in 1863. Henri Dunant used the symbol to establish the logo for the International Committee of the Red Cross. Dunant's design was a purely civic gesture. He simply inverted the colors of the Swiss flag, turning a white cross on a red field into a red cross on a white field. This version of the mark was stripped of its ancient meaning and codified as a secular medical icon through the 1864 Geneva Convention Treaty. By the turn of the century, the Tau had been standardized. It was no longer a sign of divine protection, but a public symbol of human institutional aid. The final stage of this theft occurred in 2007. Johnson & Johnson, a multi-billion-dollar healthcare corporation, filed a trademark lawsuit against the American Red Cross, claiming that they, not the humanitarian group, held the primary right to use the symbol. After thousands of years, the mark God used to spare lives in Jerusalem had been reduced to a piece of contested corporate intellectual property. If the Tau is truly a sign of universal authority granted by God, it is unlikely to remain the subject of corporate litigation forever. The era of human ownership appears to be reaching its limit. In 2011, the reported return of Christ RayEl marked the beginning of a reclamation. He appeared wearing the symbol of the Red Cross, signaling a shift of the mark back toward its prophetic origins. This return was accompanied by events that bypassed human institutions entirely. That same year, the image of RayEl was reported in a crop circle, suggesting the mark was once again manifesting as a signature in the physical world. Even the study of light has provided a modern scientific parallel to these events. In 2016, researchers set out to capture the visual profile of a single photon. This is a visualization of that experiment. Scientists found that a single photon, the fundamental particle of light, naturally manifests in the shape of a cross. This discovery aligns with the 2019 anointing of Christ RayEl by the holy prophet Elijah. RayEl, meaning light of God, mirrors the declaration in the Gospel of John, I am the light of the world. From the ancient Ankh to the core of a single photon, the Tao has never been a human invention. It remains what it was in the time of Ezekiel, the unbroken signature of the beginning and the end.